Everyone, it's Michelle Angelique, Truth and Integrity Warrior, and today's going to be a video on an update, I guess you'd say, of my first video, which was Anti-Nano Bucket for beginners. So this is going to be an update, a second video to help out that first video because it did so well, and my subscribers had a lot of questions, and I want to be able to answer those questions here today. And so we're going to reverse engineer the bucket that I have so that we can see how to actually build this thing. What components do we need? A couple of those tough questions that my subscribers asked, and so that we can clear things up so that we can make these buckets faster without having to struggle. And I say struggle because for a lot of us, we don't work with electricity, so these things can be a little confusing, complicated, and we just want to make the damn bucket. So let's get to it. Alright, so now we're going to get down into how to make this bucket. But right before we do that, I just want to go over this list of the questions that my subscribers asked. And it's, what materials do I need to buy to make this bucket? Is it AC or DC power cord to power this bucket? How do I connect the two copper ends to the power cord? And the other would be, can I use this bucket if I'm pregnant? I will address those questions at the end of this video. Right now, for my first question, I want to be able to address what people need so they can move through and go get these parts to assemble this bucket. That way, this person feels confident. And I say this person is my subscriber, just wants to know what he needs to go buy, get her done, and not hear all the other information that goes with like an hour-long video. He was very direct when he stated, can somebody just tell me what I need to buy? And so I said I would just go out of my way to make sure that we just plow through that, and then I'll yap it up once we get that done. Alright, and I say yap it up is because I got some more information I want to go over that I didn't go over in the first video, and that was the Anti-Nano Bucket for beginners. This would be phase 2 with some new information. So what we're going to need is I think these are called 20-gallon buckets. These are called 20-gallon buckets. And if they're a liter, they're, I believe, no, so I'm sorry, 20-liter bucket, 5-gallon bucket. So gallons in the US, liters in Mexico. Again, 5-gallon bucket, 20-liter bucket. Same thing, different countries. All right, different measuring systems. You're going to need some copper wire. You can find these at Home Depot or pretty much any place that sells home improvements, any home improvements. And this is a 12 gauge, you can get a 10 gauge, you get whatever gauge you can get your hands on. It really doesn't matter. It's not about if you don't have the right gauge, it's not going to work. It's going to work. I just choose 12 gauge because it's not too big, not too thick. Kind of like the little Goldilocks syndrome. It's kind of in the middle. So I get a 12 gauge. But work with whatever you can get your hands on. If you can get a 12, get a 12. If not, like I said, whatever you can. Because I'm recognizing that people can't find what they need, can't afford what they need, or it's just not accessible. So this is why I'm saying just get what you can, because it's going to work. It doesn't have to be very specific. You just need to create a pulse. You need to create an EMP to knock this tech out so that it can function. So that will be that. You're going to want to get a whole spool of duct tape. I'm going to be using a lot of duct tape. You're going to want to get electrical tape. You're going to want to have a knife, any kind of knife. You don't got to be a special knife, just a knife. Some wire cutters. It'll make your life easy. If you ain't got no wire cutters, you get a strong scissors. Or you're just going to have to be bending and breaking until you break it. Like I said, if you can't afford these things, make it happen. Figure out how to do it. You'll want some scissors, any kind of scissors, and just for a little snippet and clip it. And you just don't know what you're going to need or when you're going to need it. But these wire cutters pretty much take care of all that for you. You don't need the scissors, but they're always good to have on hand. You're going to need these little alligator clips. I don't know if you can see that right there. These little alligator clips are going to be what we put at the ends of this power cord to connect to the bucket. And pretty much that's it. It's pretty simple. That's what we're going to work with. I'm also going to be talking about the magnets at the end. You're going to want to get some magnets Very important that this bucket is good, but with a magnet belt, it's even better, it's stronger. So it creates a stronger force to, stronger EMP to knock out this tech, scramble this tech. So these are speaker magnets, ceramic speaker magnets. A lot of people want to know what they look like, the ones that I use. I have 8 of them. I've got 8 of these. You can, and I got the 8 so that I can, it's dangerous, so be careful. They clip to each other and you don't want to break them. This is my magnet belt that I wrap around this bucket like this, and then I use 2 pieces of Velcro to connect. I usually go further down, but I'm just showing you so that you can see how this works. I do not create a whole closed loop. I'll talk about that in my other video. I won't go over that right now. And we'll be in another video. I'm going to show us another little magnet assembly that I have for my face or certain parts of my body when I travel. I'm going to be talking about this magnet belt. I'm going to show you how I make it. I'm going to show you why I make these little ones for travel, because I can't be traveling with these things. At the end of this video, and it's going to be a separate video, but I'm going to attach it to the end of this video. Because right now we're just going to work on making the bucket, and then it'll be on making this belt. So, right here. Because I have an issue that you might also come up with later on when you have your bucket, I'm going to show this issue right now and how I dealt with it and how I deal with it. So if you come across this, you'll be able to, you know what to do. So right here, one of my alligator clips came off. I pulled it too hard and I broke it. In my other video, I talk about how I break things all the time, but here we go. I broke it, it snapped off. I haven't had the time to go up in there and get it all crimped up and back. So because I needed it right now, my bucket, this is what I ended up doing. I hope you can see it. Try to make it where you can see it. So one alligator clip works, and the other one, I just took the wire, I wrapped it around the other end, just took that wire right there, put it right through that little hole, twisted it around, and that's my one connection. And then I took this one and made my other connection. And now what I mean by that is, even though the alligator clip's not there, I'm still making a connection between the wire and the post to be able to make my power cord work, so that I get the current and I get that pulse from this bucket hitting the tech. So I don't know if you can see that right there. So that's just a little quick fix, little band-aid. If you need that bucket ASAP, you can do it just like that. You don't want to touch that, because when this power cord is connected to the wall, because you will get electrocuted, because it's open live wire. You don't mess around with that, so you want to be very careful. But like I said, if you ain't got no babies crawling on the floor, you ain't got no cats walking around, you should be fine. No one's going to touch it or land on this as you're using your bucket. That's a quick fix. Another thing is, I wanted to show you guys, I don't have this connected right now. What is this? This is the end of the power cord. Now I found out something, that when this power cord, which I'm going to tell you, get any power cord that's part of this assembly. People ask me, what kind of power cord am I supposed to get? Well, might as well just get into this right now. Is it AC or DC? DC is for direct current when you're working with a battery that you're going to connect it to. Tony Peteresco has a video where he's talking about working with DC, and AC doesn't work. AC doesn't work for a battery that you're connected to. But if you are working with the wall socket, with the power grid, it must be AC. And AC stands for alternating current. DC stands for direct current. So you want a direct line with a battery that's not connected to the power grid, it's not connected to your wall, and then you want to get AC for alternating current that goes right into that wall socket. So that's the differences between there. Now people ask me, well, pretty much what I'm doing is I'm answering the questions as we're going through the assembly. Another big question is the volts, the amps, the watts. Let's just stick with, and this is what I've come to recognize, because I had a real hard time getting these finding them anywhere. I couldn't even find them at thrift stores. I was looking to buy these, and then I didn't know which one to buy and how many amps and how many volts. I didn't know if it had to be specific. It doesn't. Just get it. If it's AC, because you're going to connect it to the wall, remember, this is a 3.5. When I say remember that AC goes to the wall and DC goes to a battery. So this is an AC because it gets connected to the wall. This is a 3.5 amp. And I'm just going to try to give you a gauge. It is 3.5 amp. Tony Teresco works with 5 amp and he recommends a 5 amp. Alright, so I was looking for 5 amp, couldn't find it anywhere. I got a 3.5 amp, and it works. And this is what I'm saying. Don't stress about the volts, the watts, the amps. Just get a power cord from a laptop that's an AC, get it connected to this bucket, and it's going to work. So even though I got a low amp, it's not, it's not a 5 amp, it's still working. If I can get my hands on a 5 amp, I'm gonna use it. But right now, I gotta use what I got. So here's a little trick that when I connected my laptop charger to the wall to try to get my bucket to work, a lot of these have a little window and it's a little green light that flickers on and off, or a little light anyways, it flickers on and off, and that flicker lets you know, boom, boom, it goes on and off like that. Then you know there's a pulse going to your bucket. Because when this is connected to a laptop and not this bucket, that light just stays on, letting you know that there's power, and it'll be a steady light. It won't pulse. So that pulse you can see when you connect it to your bucket. You get that boom, 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 that's your pulse. So when you don't see that little light, you're not getting a pulse, because there's something wrong with the charge, there's something wrong with the connection. And now I got really distressed, and I was like, I can't go find me another cord. They're hard to find. They're hard to find, these things. So I just took it upon myself. I said, let me check something out. I took off, because a lot of these, they're made where you can take off the connective part, right? And what I did is I got another one from somebody else's laptop, because these are kind of universal. They kind of all fit. Not all the time, but usually they do. And I connected it, stuck it into the wall, and I got my light to blink again. So it wasn't that this whole thing was bad, it's just I had to change this. Ask me why? I don't know. I can't get down deep into why this has to do with why this is not working and my bucket is not pulsing. But it worked, and I got my light to blink back on and off. So try to switch this out if you stop getting a pulse. And for those of you who don't have that little light, you can get I said it on my first video, I'll say it again. You can get a compass. I didn't have a compass here, but you can plug it into the wall. If you don't have a little light that tells you that little pulsing, flickering on and off, you get a compass, and if your compass is moving back and forth along the side of here, because this is where it's going to feel it. This is where it's going. This is where the pulse is coming from. It's not necessarily going to get it from here. You're going to get it from here. Actually, I've never checked to see if my compass moves next to this, but I know it moves next to this. And so your compass gauge will go like this. It'll flicker back and forth because it's reading the pulse. And it's reading the pulse because the field is changing. And we want that fluctuation in the field, because that fluctuation in the field, that change is what's knocking out this, scrambling this technology that's in our bodies. Let me go, this biotechnology that's in our body. I mean, that shit's alive. That shit's thinking. That shit's doing and moving. And we need to knock this little fucking brains out. And that's what this is about. That's what this whole book is about. So now, reverse engineer. What do I got right here? Right here I got 2 wires. I got, when I started from the bottom of the bucket all the way to the top of the bucket, you're going to have 2 ends of wires. You know, when you get started, you're going to have a long piece of wire that you're going to start with at the end. I'm going to show you how we're going to tape it and do all that. Wrap it around, and you're going to be left with another long piece of wire. Those 2 long pieces of wire, the copper cord, which is right here, the one end on the bottom and the one end at the top, because you finish wrapping, you're going to bring those together right here. Where I got it. Gosh dang, how did I do this? Oh, here it is, right here. So this is what I want to show you. So when I ended up here at the top, you can go further up, but this is all the cord I had, and so that's what I used. It's about a 60 wrap. 60 winds around. Tony Carrasco recommends an 80. Obviously, the more copper, the better, the stronger. But like I said, you gotta use what you got. If you ain't got 80, you use 60. And so I stopped at 60 right here, 60 winds, and I bring it down. I taped it down, keep it neat. Brought it down here so that I can bring it across down to the bottom to meet the other wire that I started with at the end. So when we begin, we don't begin with the end of the wire here. We leave a lot of long wire at the end so we can have this piece right here. And that piece, when they come together, the top, again, let me go right here, the top and the bottom, then we take our electrical tape, bring them together, and it looks like one wire. We have two ends. Now those two ends of those two wires that we got from this copper wrap right here, those are what we're going to put our little studs on. You know what, I forgot to tell you, buy little studs. See little studs. You can find them right where you go to Home Depot or any hardware store. You can find them right next to these. And these little studs, boop, boop. See them right there? They're what you clip onto. In my first video, I show you how I clip those on. I'll put it at the end of this video so that if you haven't seen that first video, you can watch it right there. And so when we put these little studs on, they're to each end of the wire. It doesn't matter which stud goes to which wire. It doesn't matter. You just want to get one on each, tape up your two wires, make it look like one, and we got a system going on. So that when this gets plugged in to the wall, let me put the cord on so that I don't confuse the shit out of people. It's just confusing to them. And so when this gets plugged into the wall, what's happening is charge is running through, electrical charge is running through the copper, and it's creating a field. It's amplifying a field. And it's doing it with a pulse. Again, it's a boom, 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 boom. It's like a punch. It's like a punch. And when you have your two cords together, it's just looping right back into from. So let me go back to make this more understandable. I just confused the shit out of myself. These cords, they connect together at the end. So it's just one cord that connects together at the end, and they separate right here. Now, this right here, this cord that comes from a laptop's power cord, you're gonna do where you're taking the cord wire and you're gonna put these alligator clips on. I'm trying to make it where you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. So the wire is going to get an alligator clip on it. And in my first video, I show you how to do that. So that when you get this alligator clip on it, you're going to be putting it right at the ends, right here, right? So you're gonna connect that. And so when that energy that comes, that current that comes, that power that comes from the wall gets into here, it's just gonna be cycling. It's going to be cycling almost like a hamster wheel, just going a current around this bucket. Okay. So another question that I didn't write on there, somebody said, do they need some type of special heat tape because they think this might create heat? It doesn't create any heat whatsoever. There's no heat created from charging or powering this bucket. All right. So another big question would be, how do you start taping this mamma jamma up? How do we tape this thing up? So what we're gonna want to do is have a nice clean bucket, nice clean surface, nice and dry. You don't want it wet, because what we're gonna end up doing is taking the tape, starting at, doesn't matter if you start at the end or at the top or at the bottom. You're just going to want to lay it down this way. So you got a little piece on there, right? You got a little piece taped on there. Hold it down with your finger, and you're gonna go backwards. What we're gonna want to do here is go all the way around this bucket with the sticky side up. So you're gonna have a nice sticky little bucket. There's different ways you can do it. You can prop it up, stand it up like this, go all the way around, which is easiest because this never touches anything. You want to keep your sticky side of your tape. I'm gonna do one round just so you can see what I'm talking about. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. If you have somebody to help you, it's even better. When it comes to any type of wrapping, just gonna go around like this. And what you're gonna do is go all the way till you cover the whole of the bucket. And you're gonna just layer down, layer down, layer down, layer down. You don't even need to cut it and then do another layer. I just wind all the way down. And you want to do it in a clean form where it's not sloppy. Not sloppy meaning you don't want to have too many bends in your tape. You want to pay attention to your tape, and as you're going around the next layer, you don't want to have all those tons of folds. These aren't folds right here. It's just because it's not on a smooth surface. It's on some wires. So that's that. By the time, or I should say, when you're done getting all of that tape all around, then you're gonna start with your wire. Now you can get your wire. It's gonna be, it's how do I say? It's not complicated. It's just fucking annoying. It's just not easy to work with. It doesn't bend too well. But once you get it going, it becomes easy. So you want to take at least, I do anyways, I want at least a foot of extra cord off. I can choose to cut it later, but I'd rather have more wire to work with than not enough wire. So I do about a foot. You can do less if you want. And what I do is, if I'm starting at the bottom, what you do, I put a little piece of tape right here. So let me cut this tape. That's why you need a knife, just to make it nice and handy, right? Nice and handy. You always need a knife for everything. So you take your foot of your wire, right? And you just make your life easy. Just tape it right there. We're gonna get back to it later. It's not staying like that. That little piece of tape will be coming off, but it's just like a placeholder for you, right? So now we're gonna take our wire, and then we're gonna just start wrapping around and wrapping around. And what I found the easiest was to place it on my knee and just kind of do like a spin and wrap. So like I said, if somebody can help you, have them help you. And the reason I say on my knee, because this part on the top doesn't have any tape. And so I would sit down, only because of video purposes, it's hard for me to move this video and show you at the same time. I think somebody's, there we go, sorry about that. It's on my phone. Put this part on my knee that doesn't have the tape, and then just wrap and turn, wrap and turn, wrap and turn. Find the easiest and best way for yourself to do it. It's one of those things. Once this is wrapped all the way up to the top, remember we still got this tape to the bottom. Now let's say we got our wire up here, right? We got our wire up here. We're gonna also do a foot, and we're gonna bring them these two wires together, and then we are going to make the two ends that I was telling you is right here. Whoops! That's a knife dangerous. I didn't want to do that. Could have been my toe. Those two wires, when they come together, you tape them together and they go off like this. So one's here and then one's here. If you keep calling me while I'm making videos, I apologize. Sorry. Eventually I'll get a camera where I can't get a phone call while I'm making a video. So you take the top wire and bottom wire, come together, they make one wire, you put your ends, and there we go. There's your bucket. That's a bucket wire. I hope that was helpful. I hope it makes some sense without me having to take all that time to make a bucket, because it takes a while. It takes a while to make it. I will have listed on the bottom of the comment section where all the little pieces of tools that you need to be able to assemble this bucket. And we're going to talk about, you know what, I thought I wasn't going to have enough time. I thought I was going to have to make a separate video, but I think I got enough time where I can make this whole video where I can get this magnet belt in there. Because I think I've been able to cover everybody's questions. It's what materials do I need? Is it AC or DC power cord? How do I connect the copper wires to the end of the power cord? And for the part, let me get to this before I go into the magnetic belt, is can I use this product if I'm pregnant? Well, that's a very touchy, very touchy question, because it has to do with giving birth, you know, and anything can change the effects of how that, everything affects the baby, right? So we want to be very careful. And what I suggest is, like I said, you speak to your doctor, you speak to your healthcare professional. I will really put in some links to healthcare professionals, medical doctors who are also trained in nutrients. Now, why am I talking about that? Why would I refer somebody to a medical doctor who understands minerals, who understands vitamins, who understands the human cells, who understands nutrition? Because this tech doesn't work with minerals. It's repelled by minerals. It's almost like a fucking natural force field. It's fantastic. It's like water and oil. They just won't combine together. Nanotechnology cannot grab on and sink on to minerals, to cells that are full of minerals. And it makes it very difficult for that tech to take hold of that cell. And now why does that matter? Because the minerals that our body is filled up with, which I talk about all the time about taking minerals, and I have a video on what minerals I make, what minerals I take, and why I take them. I learned how to make minerals from and consume minerals from Tony Pacheresco and how it works against the tech. It's also made me much younger and stronger and better and focused. It's a whole nother video just to talk about minerals. But when it comes to being pregnant and putting your feet in this bucket, I personally don't recommend doing anything new while pregnant. Can't recommend that. But if you got this tech running through the body and this pain is in the body, or this irritation or this discomfort, whatever level it may be of this tech moving in the body, I have heard, I have not witnessed it for myself, but I have heard that taking mineral baths and soaking in them brings down the effects of this tech. Now, why do I say I've heard and I can't say that for myself? I only speak about what I know, and what I know I share, and what I know is because I felt it, I experienced it, and I say it with certainty. I don't have a bathtub, and I haven't had a bathtub in over 10 years, so I can't soak. And when I do go into the States, or I do go to somebody's house and they got a bathtub, I soak. Do I feel good after taking a mineral bath? I feel fucking fantastic. But I don't know, and I can't recognize if it's slowing down the tech. Why? Because I'm always fucking slowing down the tech. I'm always breaking it down. So I don't know that it's coming from that bath. But I had a subscriber who told me, because she was in a situation where she felt this tech everywhere, it was driving her insane. She wanted to know how to make this bucket. She reached out. I told her about all the different things she can do. And I said, and mineral baths, because I learned that from Tony, right? She took the mineral bath. She said she felt the relief immediately. She said it slowed down the disturbance, just the all around. She felt better and less distressed. So I was like, this is wonderful information. This is wonderful news. And I can share it with other people, because now I know from somebody else's experience that it will cause a relief. It can get a relief from this. So being pregnant, going back to that, taking mineral baths, check with your healthcare professional. As being pregnant, can you take mineral baths? So when I say mineral baths, it's Epsom salt, it's borax, it's anything that you can use. You can put vinegars in there, the acid in there. Those things help because they go right into the bloodstream. We don't recognize how sensitive we are, but whatever we soak in, whatever we put on, goes right into our bloodstream. And that, as far as this tech, is necessary for us to know that when we soak in these minerals, we absorb, and our cells absorb. And so that relief comes in because this tech pops off. Do we still need the bucket? Yes. Do we still need to consume minerals? Yes. Do we still need to change our diet to, and this comes from me, it comes from nobody else, is high lectin free diet. Can't have high lectins. I'm going to do another video. Actually, I got to do it as soon as possible, because another one of my subscribers said, what is this high lectin free diet and the combination with the glyphosate? What are we talking about? So I want to get more specific into that. But for right now, it's changing that diet, getting rid of high lectins that bring down the immune system, and this tech just fucking powers right through your body, just cuts right through your body. Second, get those minerals into the body daily. The bucket is third, making sure that you're doing this bucket. I do the bucket at least every week. I'm going to talk about something that I recognize, not doing the bucket. What happens when you don't do the bucket. And those factors, those right there, regular bucket every week, minerals every day, and changing the diet. Those are the three factors, are the most key things I recognize have to happen. When I get a bathtub, I'm going to incorporate mineral baths also, at the very least, once a week. And so for a pregnant person, or a pregnant woman, I don't know why I said person, a pregnant woman, you got to check with a health professional. That is always what anybody is ever going to say, because nobody wants to ever cause a negative effect to anybody else, because that person said this and that person said that. So we ain't going to do that, but I will put that information out there so that maybe you can get some relief if you're feeling this tech moving around in your body, which people calling delusional parasitosis. Don't use that term. Don't accept that term. Don't get that fucking diagnosis, because it's bullshit. Straight up. Talk about that all the time. I won't get into it anymore. It's tech in the food system, in the air, in the water we're breathing, in the water we're drinking, air we're breathing, in the body, causing a fucking negative effect. How do we stop it? These are some ways to do it. Now, let's get into this belt. So glad I have time to get all this done. This belt is made up of 8 of these speaker magnets. You want to know where to get speaker magnets? In the back of old damaged speakers, you can find them. Just pop them right out of the back. Pretty easy. If they're bigger, great, use them. If they're smaller, great, use them. You gotta use whatever the heck you can get your hands on nowadays. I cannot find these size on Amazon. If you can, please let me know. Or where you can find these, please let me know, because I have not found a provider. I'm still working on that, so people can get these, because I find them to work the best, because they're not too big, not too small. That Goldilocks effect, you know, right in the middle. And this is how I work with them. This is how I make this belt. You're gonna want to lay out. What we got right here? Let me get my knife. I just dropped. Hold up. Danger. Keep that away from the edge and keep your toes. All right. So this belt is made out of, as you can see, a ton of duct tape. All duct tape. I love duct tape. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I love duct tape. That's why I made like a 6-pack of duct tape, and that's exciting. That's exciting for me, because it's expensive and you can use it for everything. So you want a big, nice, long, flat surface. I'm using this table. You're going to want to, let me see if I can get this camera over here. Just watch. So you tape it down to the table. You flip over so that you can make a belt, right? So what we're going to end up doing here is, now I'm going to use my scissors, because I only got one hand. You cut the end right there. And I also double it over like this, and I lay it down. Let me see if I can get the camera on it, right here. And I lay it down. Nope, can't see it. Doing my best. And lay it down right there. So you get this nice, long, little flat strip of duct tape, right? All right. Working with me. You're going to want to do this one edge over the next edge over the next edge. And what it ends up doing, where is it at? I'm going to do one more just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Here. All right. So these layers, you're going to make a wide duct tape belt. You're going to do the same thing over and over again. And so right here, if you can see, what I'm going to do is right here. Now I don't need to do that double end anymore. I only have to do it once. That way I can save tape. And I just tape it right onto the end. Let me see if I can get this to, oh, my phone don't fall. Woo. Work with me, people. And you just get it right. Whoops. You want this to stay nice and straight. You don't want a lot of, you don't want any wrinkles in this. And then you just cut the end right there. Cut the end. Doesn't matter if it's extra at the end. It all gets taped up. All right. So you see how that's just getting wider? So you're gonna make that as wide as you want. I do about 3, I think this is about a 3 wide. Now, that's my belt that I'm going to be putting on these. Hey, let me show you something. So this one right here is bigger than these over here, and you can see that right there, right? Does it mean I'm not gonna use them? Of course not. I'm gonna use whatever I get my hands on. So what I mean by that is don't be worried about things not being exactly the same as what somebody else is doing. If you can get everything the same and you can get the best, great. When I say the best, meaning what you want. If you can't get what you want, you gotta use what's available. And it still works. So now what we're gonna end up doing is, you wanna make this belt last. What I just did on this table, you actually wanna do that last. Why? Because what we're gonna end up doing first is sealing our magnets. We're gonna wanna seal our magnets. For those of you using neodymium magnets, some of those are very dangerous. Those things will break your front teeth if you got metal on the other side of your teeth somewhere. Meaning they will fly right out your hand. They will press together even if your hand's in the way, and they will make you bleed. They're dangerous because they're so goddamn strong, and we don't recognize what we have, what metal pieces we have that it'll pull with. Now, this is neodymium inside of here. I just want to stop and show you this before I make these covers for the ceramic ones that we're going to put into our belt, right? These neodymiums, I had to get these rubber ends. They go at the bottom of tables just so that I can separate them, because it's impossible to separate. Literally, that's how powerful they are. So with the rubber, I'm able to separate. Just want you to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about, what kind of power I'm talking about right there, right? So, boom. There's some neodymium. Oh, wow. Cool. Something chipped. Wow, they chipped. Damn. Yeah, okay, so my magnet's chipped. It's really bad. Like I say, when they hit hard. And it'll take your finger. It'll snip the skin of your finger just so they can come back together. And it'll go all the way through. And your skin gets caught in the middle of these and causes to bleed. So, like I said, dangerous. Be careful. These are the only neodymium magnets that I have. I don't use them for the bucket only because they're so damn strong. I will take these with me if I'm traveling. And I take these lighter ceramic ones if I'm traveling. These lighter ceramic ones, lighter means the magnets are smaller. It's like a rectangle in there. And they're ceramic ones. And what I do is I put them on my face or on my arm or wherever I have a hit of tech. Now when I say a hit of tech, meaning that shit's assembling and it's taking over a part of my body because I'm around so many damn cell towers when I go into any city. And she would just start popping up out of my body. I'm going to put some pictures up so you can see what I'm talking about. And it's just, you never know when it's going to happen. And having these magnets degausses them, meaning knocks them out, and poof, you get your skin back, or you get that part of your body back. I've never had it hit an organ before, so I can't tell you what to do about that, but I've had it grab different parts of my body and what I do about it in case of emergency and I don't have my bucket. So I will travel with these because they're small. I've taken them on an airplane before, in my makeup bag. I don't put this with wherever I have my cell phone or any electronics or any credit cards, things of that sort, which would be my purse, because it'll mess all that stuff up. It won't work no more. It'll erase it. It'll degauss it. So that's how effective magnets are. We live in a magnetic field and we don't know it. We live in an electromagnetic field and we don't know it. It has a lot to do with other stuff, but for right now, we'll just keep it simple. So you can travel with these and have no problem getting across in an airplane because they're just magnets. Boom, boom. You just put them in your makeup bag. And for you men who don't wear makeup, I commend you. Please, people don't get upset about that. I'm just saying. I use them and I put them in my makeup bag. If you're a man, put them in a, I don't know, a satchel. put them in something where you can take across with you. You don't want to put them in your pockets because you can't go through the... Alright. Just take them, put them in something so that you can get... It can go through the scanner and not through you when you gotta walk through the scanner at the airport, because you gotta take everything out of your pockets, put them in there, so that you don't throw your magnets by themselves in there. You have them in a bag. The bag goes through, and nobody's asking any questions, and it seems to work just fine. Meaning, work where you can get across it through airplane and have your little magnets with you on your person. Because you can't be traveling with stuff like this. You can't be traveling with a big old bucket with copper wire connected all to it. It looks crazy. And so if you have your buckets, one in every area that you go to, you will be able just to take your power cord. I talked about this in the other video, the first video, where I travel with this and then I just connect it to my bucket wherever I go. And yes, I have a magnet belt in San Diego and I have a magnet belt in Mexico. And so getting back to this magnetic belt, we are going to do this. Actually, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to improvise right here. I'm going to get it off of me so you guys can see what I'm doing down here. We're going to get our magnetic belt. And remember, I put in this layer in this tape so we can make that long strip of belt. What we're going to actually do now is just put the magnet on there. Right now, it doesn't matter what side is up, what side is down. It doesn't matter north or south. And we're just going to put the magnets right on the sticky tape, right? And we're going to put them with some space in between, because what we're going to do is we're going to be taping them up so that we have a taped individual single magnet. And then we take those taped individual single magnets, put them on the repelling side where they repel against one another, and then we tape those up as one. You're going to have a repelling force of magnets, tape them together, and there will be one unit. And that one unit is what you see right here. There's one unit. There's two magnets that are opposing each other. And now the only way I've been able to keep them from bouncing around, moving all over the place, is taping them down. And so this is what we're doing. We're taping them down. So stop moving. All right. We'll take this extra little end that I have right here. And I'm just going to put tape right on top. That's all we're doing. Kind of a little, what would you call this? A grilled cheese sandwich. A grilled cheese sandwich. So we have magnets in the middle, not cheese. Right? Okay, so we're going to cut down the center. I hope you can see this. Cut down the center. We're going to individualize these. Now, you can do this better where you waste less tape. But I had to improvise right now. Thinking about, shoot. So you got magnets that stick to each other. And guess what? Duct tape sticks to each other. It folds really quick. So you're going to be, it sticks to itself really quick if you're not paying attention. So I'm going to do right here, and I'm going to fold it over. I'm improvising using the tape that I have. I'm just going to fold it over. There we go. And I don't care that it happens to have extra tape. Okay, here's one unit. One unit of ceramic, of a ceramic magnet in duct tape. Okay. Here's the other one. We're going to cut it. Like I said, you can do this where you're not wasting so much tape, but I'm improvising. There we go. So now we got two. You feeling that? You're seeing that? You know what I'm doing? And then we're going to fold this over right here. Hope you can see that. And fold it over right here. And then just crimp them together like an empanada. You know, little Mexican food. You just crimp it together. Boom, boom. Look at that. Got it. Alright, so now, right now I'm just working with 3 because that's all I have extra for me to show you what I'm doing. And now that these are like this, you want to get, so I'm going to get 2 of the same size. So I'm going to do one of them is bigger than the others. So I got 2 of the same size, right? Now, watch this. These are repelling. They're both pushing left. Literally, it's a left spin. You can see it under a ferroscope. I will put a link on the bottom so you can see what magnetism looks like. And that's from, I always forget this guy's name. In fact, I don't even know his name. I just know his YouTube name. But anyways, he's my expert on magnetism, is an expert on magnetism, and is one of my go-to guys to be able to see magnetism and understand it better. So these spin left and they don't touch. And that's what we want. Now when we turn it around, you see how they clip together? They're spinning right. They're torquing into each other. Literally a spinning torque. Just like a screw goes in with a screwdriver, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Well, it's real. Those principles are real. So these are spinning away from each other, left. These are spinning into each other, right toward. So now we want left on left. What we want is where they're repelling, where they push against. So now, when we have them like that, they're going to want to push away from each other. Constantly want to push away from each other. But what we're going to do is make another duct tape connection right here. And so now these guys, and they're going to move to the side. Doesn't even matter how much duct tape you put on them, they're going to push to the side. And that's one unit. Once we duct tape these together, it's one unit. Then what we're going to do is layer them in that initial belt that I started with the duct tape, where we put them on and then more duct tape on top. You don't cut that one because that one becomes your belt. So I hope that makes some sense what I'm talking about, how you can put this together. I don't, just so for time's sake, if somebody wants me to, for time's sake, I'm cutting it right here, meaning I'm ending it right here. I'm going to show you how I do the Velcro part. But in general, if somebody wants me to do this from the beginning to the end, how to make this, if that information wasn't enough, let me know write me, call me, put it in the comment that you want me to actually make this from beginning to end, which would be this belt, and I'll do that. It's time consuming, and for time's sake of this video, we're going to stop right there with that information. If you don't have Velcro to connect your ends, you know, I've never measured this. So I can't tell you how long this is, but I know that there's 4 sections of magnets, of the ones that you just saw. I know that it doesn't wrap around my whole bucket, and that's what you want. You generally want to do that. You just don't want a whole closed loop. This right here is Velcro, and I just taped it in there so that when it comes together like this, oops, sorry, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff stuck to it. Ooh, I should have checked that before I started the video, but it is what it is. When it comes together, you got the lumpy side on one side, and you got the, I don't know what to call this, the hairy side on the other. And it comes together and it holds really well. If you don't have Velcro, tape some rope to it, tie it in a damn knot. My point is, use whatever you have. Things don't have to be exactly what somebody else has for it to function. What you want is power running through copper, and copper being wrapped with magnets. You want minerals inside of your bucket. I just realized I didn't talk about what goes inside the bucket. So we're done with this. Let's go into what I didn't recognize. I needed to talk to you guys about. What goes in here? It's pretty much real basic. It's called, it's a water solution, and that water solution is an electrolyte. Why is it gotta be an electrolyte? Electrolyte means that your water is gonna have electrical connectivity to the water in your body, to the cells in your body. That's it. That's all it is. So you can't just put water in here because your feet would just be wet. But if you want the cells in the body, the water in the body, to connect with the water in this bucket, electrolyte it has to happen. You can't do it without an electrolyte. So you can use sea, what Tony uses is sea salt or salt and vinegar. He puts a lot every time. I noticed that sometimes we don't have a lot, or we can't afford a lot. So I do a cup of vinegar, a cup of sea salt, done. He uses more, you can use less. The point is, you just want that water charged. It can be charged with less. Once that acid from the vinegar and the minerals from the sea salt hit that water becomes charged. So when we're drinking electrolytes, like in our sports drinks, those are just a bunch of minerals, water. It has a citric acid in there for the acid component. So if you don't have vinegar, you can use citric acid. If you purchase citric acid, which I do, it's that salty taste that they put on Doritos, or I'm trying to give you an idea of what citric acid is used on. That's the sour candies that have that, makes your mouth water, a citric acid. So you can put citric acid in there, water, and some salt. If you don't have sea salt, you get some damn table salt. What I'm saying is use whatever you got. If you can get sea salt, get it. If you can get vinegar, get it. But if you don't have it, I mean, I've gotten to the point where I didn't even have the right water. I had to use tap water. I didn't have vinegar. I got some lemons for the citric acid. I didn't have sea salt. I used table salt. Things get rough. You gotta use what's around. What do you got? What can I use? And I want you guys to not be concerned with, if I don't have exactly what she's talking about or what Tony's talking about, I can't use it. Yes, you can. And yes, it'll work. Make an electrolyte. Make it in the water. Get your feet in there. Get that connection. And watch this bucket start knocking out the programming in this tech and pulling out from your body. Literally, you feel it from the top. Start pulling down through your body, and you feel the pain where it starts pulling out of your feet because it's coming out of the bottom of your pores. So the bottom of the pores of our feet, I should say, the pores of our feet are the largest pores that we have, and you can feel this tech move out of it, almost like a marble coming out of a straw. It hurts sometimes, but you know it's working. You know something's happening, and then boom, you get the release, and that gives relief. That's why this book is so important. All right, this is Michelle Angelique, Truth and Integrity Warrior. Don't forget, we got solutions to these fucking problems that we're facing. We can't just sit on our ass and complain that life sucks. It's just rough, but we're smart, and we're gonna take care of business. You guys take care. Peace out. So I recognize that I forgot to tell you guys what I noticed when I wasn't using the bucket. In the month of, I want to see what months were they. It was April and May. 2 weeks out of each one of those months, I was without the bucket because I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And what I recognize is this tech will literally build up right underneath the skin, and it'll get gray, and it'll get dark. And then when I came back to use the bucket, poof, all that just started coming out. Literally, it's just the skin lifts more. It almost like thins out, and the body starts pushing out this tech. It's almost like when it pushes out toxins, right? So the body will naturally push it out, but when I use the bucket is when it actually pushes out. So the reason I'm able to hold this tech back from going through my skin more regularly like it used to is because I changed my diet. But even though I changed my diet and I'm in a city where there's a ton of towers and I'm not using the bucket and I am taking my minerals, it'll still start bulging or building up because it's not being knocked out. So all the components are important. Taking the minerals daily, using the bucket, and checking your diet, making sure your diet's straight, meaning no high lectins. So I'm taking minerals, my diet's straight, but I have no bucket. And I'm in a city where there's a ton of cell towers and this tech just building and building. And it builds up in my face. And on the side of my thigh, which thigh is this? My left thigh. What I want to express here, what I want to say, just in case anybody else is noticing it, is when we don't have those components, those three components, this tech will take over and will cause a lot of problems for an individual. But there is a solution, and those are part of the solutions that I'm talking to you about. And if we continue with the bucket, the minerals, the diet, what I recognize I'm able to do is keep my skin with integrity. I don't get this buildup right now. I don't know if you can see, but I just finished trying to heal because these were so big. I'm gonna put a picture so you can see it. Just bleeding out. And like I said, I'll never put videos or pictures of that. But those of you who are suffering from this tech know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a bloody mess. Because it's just, the tech is in that blood and the body's pushing it out and it's cutting through the skin. And so using that bucket is imperative. I can't be without that bucket. The next time I ever go to Scranton, Pennsylvania or anywhere, I got to know that when I get there, I'm going to a Home Depot or I'm going to a hardware store and I have to build that bucket. I have to. I can't be a week without it. That's the importance of this part of the message that I forgot to tell you is the bucket, the minerals, the diet. The bucket, the minerals, the diet. For myself anyways, I'm going to speak for myself. For me to have smooth skin. For me not to have any tech ripping through me like other people. You notice that other people don't have this tech running through them. How is that possible? There's something that has to be in our genetic code that we all have in common, that this tech is running amok. And we're not supposed to know that's happening. We're not supposed to recognize that there's tech in the food and it's in our body. But some of us that are having our bodies push out this tech, there's something in our genetic coding that's similar. It has to be, because our bodies are saying no, and it's turning this thing on. And now these are the effects that we have. And it's not Morgellons and it's not delusional parasitosis. It's a cause and effect of nano biotechnology that should not be in our bodies. And so now I'll say again, peace out, be well. Michelle Angelique, Truth and Integrity Warrior. To the next video.